listening to Something Cheeky, a collection of podcasts where two sisters discuss TV, books, and movies with just enough irreverence and far too many pop culture references. Welcome to Something Cheeky, where we discuss the TV series Vikings. I'm Nikki.
I'm Rosanna.
While I've watched the entire series, Rosanna has only watched up to what we're covering today, which is Season 1, Episode 8, Sacrifice. In this episode, we meet a prankster king, and Athelstan is super dense for basically the entire episode. Rosanna, what was your initial reaction to this episode? A lot happened.
I did not like this episode.
Oh, okay.
I was frustrated / irritated pretty much the entire time.
Okay, that makes sense. People were pretty jerky in this one.
Yeah, I really didn't like this at all.
I feel like none of the men came off well in this episode. Well, with the exception of Leif.
Oh, I agree.
Everyone else seemed terrible.
Yes. It was like a bachelor party where a bunch of guys go and just act like total jerks. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
That to me, this festival was a bachelor party.
Okay. That's reasonable.
Thank you.
What was your favorite quote, if you had one?
So, I wouldn't use the word favorite on this quote, but the quote that stood out to me, Rollo is talking to Siggy, and he says, "One day I will be a great man, and you'll regret leaving me just because I sleep with other women." And to me, this quote just screamed domestic violence, wife beater, possessive, isolating, dismissive. I mean, he just was like the poster child for domestic violence.
Also, he was still drunk when he said it.
Yeah, I hated him so much. And the point in the episode where he was having sex with the other woman, I looked and I was like, is that Rollo? And then I looked and I was like, that's not Siggy. What is happening here? And then she had just said, I'm so glad we're here together. I just, he gives me 1 week where I'm like, all right, you're not the worst person on the show. There are other people that are worse than you. And then he just turns around and he's like, nope, it's still me.
Gotta claim that throne.
Yeah. So that stood out to me as a pretty significant line.
All right, let's talk about the action. The episode pretty much focused on Athelstan most of the time. Well, the arc, I guess, for his journey. I didn't want to talk chronologically about this episode. I wanted to talk about each individual person's journey through it that we saw.
Okay.
But before that, I want to talk about Uppsala for a minute.
Okay.
Which, the hike there was beautiful. Made it really seem worth the effort to climb up.
Yes, and did you see the elk?
Yes.
Yes, I was excited to see the elk.
Must be easy to stay in shape if you live on a hill like that, like the priests do.
Good grief, yeah.
Yeah. Also, the creepy priests.
Well, okay, and then all of the people that were going up there were, I think, in fairly good shape, and they were huffing and puffing. So, whew.
Yeah.
The priests, to me, look like a cross between Floki's makeup and the seer's makeup. They were like somewhere in the middle. Like, too much. Not good. Yeah.
But at least they still had their eyes.
That's true.
The whole area, to me, felt so much like summer camp when I was a teenager.
Mm-hmm.
Just the cold mornings when everyone's kind of just waking up. No showers, everybody's dirty. Just feels very woodsy all the time. It made me very nostalgic.
And it to me, it looked a lot like the woods that are here near my house.
Oh, yeah.
That we go camping in, that we take our trailer to, that Mom and Dad's cabin is in. Just, away from everything and hills and cold in the morning and having a fire. Yeah, it's nice. Until it got further.
Until all the dead animals and people.
Well, yeah.
Yeah. Until there was blood on the ground everywhere.
Oh my gosh, so much blood.
Mm-hmm. All right, let's talk about each person. So I'm going to start with Lagratha. She appeared in the episode quite a bit, but she didn't really do much. It had her accepting offerings in Kattegat, dealing with Ragnar a bit, and then she was praying for a son, she said, before it was too late. Did you think she was either worried about being too old or worried about losing Ragnar? What was the too late?
I thought
both.
At first she was worried about being too old. But then I also sort of picked up on maybe she's also concerned about Ragnar.
I was really sad that when she said that all her dreams had come true when she had been in Uppsala before, Ragnar didn't hear that. And she said the gods granted all her every desire.
Yeah.
And she wants Ragnar to stay in the evening. That whole scene with the two of them. I feel like everyone has been in a relationship where at some point you have this silent conversation with the other person and you understand what they want and you realize it's not what you want, and it's really sad.
Yep. And this relationship that felt really close just feels like there's so much distance between them. Just all of a sudden it's this huge separation just in this couple of moments of silent conversation. It was really upsetting.
And Ragnar had basically the opposite experience. He seemed to be the only person that had a positive experience at Uppsala. And he starts out the episode just really angry, wondering what he did to anger the gods to lose the child. Then he takes out his anger on Lagertha, and then he is talking to the gods, and the opposite of the way that Lagertha did it. She was so beseeching. He is demanding to know if he's going to have more sons, like the seer said.
Yep.
It's a very different approach.
Yeah.
Do you think he's going to get more sons?
After this episode, my opinion is I hope not.
Ah, why do you say that?
Because he's pissing me off. Honestly, I don't want him to get what he wants because he's making me mad. And it's irritating to me that he's going on and on about wanting more sons, and he has a son.
Yeah.
How does that make Bjorn feel?
Mm-hmm.
It's just rude.
I wonder if it's more that he feels he's owed because he was promised sons.
I don't care. I don't care if that's what he thinks.
Well, and with how often people die, it makes sense that people would be wanting as many children as they can have.
But yeah, but his kids are not infants. He
It's
knows
true.
that they are at least going to survive somewhat. And also, so they had the two kids and then just all of a sudden couldn't. I mean, it's one thing to struggle getting pregnant the first time, and maybe she had more pregnancies that we don't know about. But Lagertha had two healthy children that have survived this long. I wonder why she wasn't able to have any more, because they obviously weren't using any sort of birth control. I mean, they were definitely in it to have more kids. So I wonder what happened there.
At the beginning of the episode, she said we can have more, and he says we've tried.
Right.
So it seems like there maybe have been some sort of fertility issues happening.
So is Gita younger or is Bjorn younger?
I think that Gita's younger.
Okay, so I wonder if maybe Lagertha had some complications with Gita.
Maybe.
Maybe that's why they had a hard time, and then when she finally did, maybe that's why even she couldn't carry this baby to term. Maybe she... You know, because a long, long, long time ago, that it's not like they could just go in and fix stuff if there was a problem. So I'm not sure if there's more to that we are going to find out or not going to find out, or there isn't anything.
There's one point in the episode where they're talking about, where Ragnar is talking with Athelstan about sacrifices at the end of the festival. Ragnar keeps kind of side-eyeing Athelstan. Did you suspect at that point what was going to happen? Or what Ragnar was trying to make happen?
I realized what was happening when Ragnar was praying to Odin.
Oh, okay. Pretty early.
Yeah, I could see. I didn't realize it before then. And actually, I was really mad because I was so happy with this conversation that they had before they left. They had this sort of like back and forth banter, like, would you come with us? And Athelstan's like, of course I will. And they just seemed like really like friends. And I was like, oh, yay, they're getting along so well.
Ragnar said, I would have taken you with me anyhow.
Right.
Which sounds funny at that point until you realize he would have.
And then I started suspecting, I looked back at that scene and I was like, oh, you jerk. Oh, I really thought that Ragnar was having a real emotional attachment to Athelstan and really bringing him into the family, because there's been some time since he brought him, because like he's got the facial hair and his hair's growing back. So time has passed at least a year, right?
Oh yeah, it seems like it.
Because of the whole pregnancy. Yeah. So I really thought that they had gotten to another point in their relationship, and I was wrong.
Yeah.
Yeah.
At one point, Ragnar meets King Horik, offers him his fealty. Horik seems pretty impressed with him. And Ragnar gives us a little more information about what he actually wants. He doesn't just want to go to England. He wants to explore new lands, do more than just plunder.
Right.
He wants to go to France. So even though it seems like a lot happens for Ragnar in this episode, it still didn't really feel like the episode was about him.
No.
And then there's not much with Rollo and Siggy. Obviously, Rollo sleeps with another woman. There's one point where he's walking around topless. I don't know why no one else is topless. I'm not
I thought that was weird too.
But it was a little strange.
Yeah. Maybe he didn't want to get blood on his shirt because he was doing something with food or something.
I don't know.
I don't know either. Eye candy.
And then Rollo and Siggy have their define their relationship talk.
Mm-hmm.
And Siggy hits him where it hurts. He didn't know Ragnar was meeting with Horik. She did. She could have helped him. She really proves her worth as a diplomat's wife, I guess.
Yeah.
Or a politician's wife.
Yeah.
I wouldn't call Rollo a diplomat. That's the wrong word for that.
Oh, I could think of a lot of things to call him, and that's not the top of my list.
King Horik was another person we saw. He didn't look very kingly. He had the prank where he was throwing the chicken on the priests to wake them up.
And so that actor, Donald Logue, I think it is.
I love that actor.
Is in everything. That guy has been in so many shows.
I feel like the only thing he was ever lead in was The Tao of Steve, which was pretty funny. But it came out a long time ago. But he had all these psychic roles. He was in Gotham and Blade and Sons of Anarchy.
Yeah, I mostly know him most recently from Gotham because I watched that in the last year or so.
Mm-hmm.
He's in everything. Yeah. And when I first saw him, I was like, oh no, he's... What? But then when he started talking, I thought his accent was not bad.
Yeah, he did pretty well.
I think he really did a good job. And I guess he's actually Irish.
Oh, okay. I didn't know
the actor is. Or Irish-Canadian, I think. So, yeah, I thought actually he did a good job. I liked his character. And I like that guy. I mean, I've liked him in what I've seen him in. Yeah, he's just in everything.
And as Horik, he talked about how he had become king because he had to kill his uncles who killed all of his family.
He had to kill the only family he had left because they had killed everyone else.
Yep.
6 uncles he killed.
Yeah.
That's a son.
I looked it up, and Horik II, because his father was king before him, it was Horik II called Eric the Child.
Oh.
Because all his family was killed. He was a child that was left.
So, why didn't they kill him?
That's an excellent question. I don't know.
Because the only thing I can think is that they didn't kill him because since his father was king, he would be king, and since he was a child, maybe they could sort of raise him where they wanted him to be.
Except that kingship is not hereditary in the Norse culture.
Oh, it's not?
No. People were basically shouted into kingship, they said.
Huh.
Yeah.
I don't know why they didn't kill him. Maybe he was hiding.
Maybe he was really young then. And then he killed, when he grew up, he then took revenge.
Yeah, maybe he was like a Daenerys Targaryen or Jon Snow. Spoilers. And was like hidden until he got to be a grown-up.
Maybe.
I don't know.
So Horik's gonna go with Ragnar off on their adventures. But first, he wants Ragnar to go to Jotunland to deal with Jarl Borg.
To settle a dispute.
It sounded like he was asking Ragnar to go as diplomat, but he was implying he really wanted Ragnar to just kill him.
Yeah, that's what
I got from that.
Yep.
Before we get to Athelstan, I wanted to talk about Leif. Because Leif was so sad, and he seems so nice. And his father is Eric.
I know. Just died.
Yeah, so we're losing all these great guys that we like. When he volunteered to be sacrificed, was the moment just before that was so indicative of so many characters. It showed this one guy that I didn't even recognize. It was just kind of waffling. Showed Floki, who obviously was going to volunteer himself.
Yes.
And Helga stopped him. Mm-hmm. And then it showed Rollo lounging in the back, looking around like, who's going to do it? Because obviously I'm not gonna.
Right. Yep.
It was very clear what everyone's characters were like in that moment. And Ragnar was just waiting, and he had this little glimmer of a smile.
He was so smirky the last half of this episode.
Everything was going his way.
Yep.
He was getting exactly what he wanted. The sacrifice itself, everybody and the animals got cleaned. Oh, the woman sang this beautiful song.
That was really pretty.
Yeah, her name is Sharon Lyons, and the song is called Sacrifice.
Mm.
But it reminded me of the song that Billy Boyd sang in Return of the King as Pippin.
Oh.
To Denethor.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but it was lovely. It was beautiful. I had to download it because it was so nice.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. The music in this whole episode was amazing.
Yeah, I think the music in this show in general is just really good.
A lot of the music this episode was from a group called Wardruna. All the dead animals were hanging. Their glassy eyes were so sad.
Mm-hmm.
I'm glad I'm not a vegetarian because I feel like it would have made it harder for me to watch this part.
I could see that. Yep.
Not that it was easy in the first place, but
yeah.
It was nice to see some more Viking tattoos.
Yeah.
To see the different styles. I looked it up. Obviously there's no actual evidence of people's tattoos from back then because skin doesn't really last that long.
Right.
But they do believe that they were heavily tattooed. The Vikings were heavily tattooed. Basically in the kind of same sort of style that a lot of the other Viking art that did survive was in.
Uh-huh.
So a lot of the kind of curly, stylized animals, things like that.
Yeah.
But we saw a lot of almost Celtic rope-looking tattoos in this one.
Mm-hmm.
And I wonder if the costume designers and the makeup artists, whoever did that, were doing it in a sort of clan style. Because I saw different people that had the star tattoos like Rollo has.
Yeah.
So I wonder if they were doing some sort of collective, giving the tattoos more meaning than we actually know about.
And to show that they came from the same place.
Yeah. There was a lot of blood. So much blood. Holy crap. Just like pouring off the tables, scooping it off the tables into bowls.
Gross. Why?
I think I said this in the last episode about the stats. In the 4th season of Vikings, they used 264 gallons of fake blood. I imagine they used probably pretty close to that in this episode.
Whoa, that's a lot of blood.
There was blood everywhere. And just imagine the amount of takes they had to do.
Yeah.
So much blood. Leif gave himself up, and I found out, when I looked it up, that by giving himself up for sacrifice, he lost his place in Valhalla.
What? I thought that was the whole point of doing it.
No, it was an even bigger deal. He still gets to go to the regular heaven, for people that lived a good and moral life, but did not die in battle. But yeah, which is called hell, actually. Funny enough.
Okay.
Heaven is, their heavenish kind of place is called hell. It's just Hel. It's short for Helgafjall. I'm probably saying that wrong. I apologize to all of our Scandinavian listeners.
That's horrible. I'm so mad about that.
Yeah, it was really sad. So he doesn't get to see, his father and all of his friends, who hopefully will go to Valhalla themselves. Mm-hmm. So yeah, he was giving up a lot more than just his life there.
Yeah.
Which makes it that much more meaningful.
I thought that was the one, redeeming part of sacrificing himself, was that he got to go right away. Oh, I'm mad about that.
Not according to history.
I'm mad at this episode.
Oh. All right, let's get to Athelstan's journey. Mm-hmm. First, I must say, he was wearing beard jewelry.
Yeah, I was not a fan of his look in this episode. His hair was weird also. Yeah. It was like a weird pulled back, half pony kind of thing.
I think he's a man that needs either bangs or just short hair.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wasn't working for him.
No, it wasn't.
So Athelstan starts this episode talking to Ragnar and then taking out his gospel, which is really dusty and crumbling. Mm-hmm. And so I think that tells us a lot about what's happened between his capture and this point. He seems to be maybe not specifically abandoning his Christian faith, but certainly losing it in bits. Mm-hmm. And I don't know if that's just because of the inertia of life in the Viking culture as a slave. You lose your original culture. Or if he is just trying to fit in by taking over more of the Norse religion and all that. I mean, he's gained a lot of knowledge about Thor, at least. Yeah. But probably a lot of other things.
Yeah, I think he's trying to fit in. And he had me going for a while. I thought he really had converted until the very end.
Yeah, and then there was the one part earlier, and maybe you didn't see it, but he kind of fingered his cross on his wrist.
I saw that he was messing with something, but I didn't realize that's what it was until later. Yeah. So, yeah, he fooled me. Good job, Athelstan.
Yeah. And then he finds out that humans are going to be sacrificed along with all the animals.
The whole human sacrifice thing, I just don't get that. I guess it's because I'm not a Viking. It just seems like such a waste. You know what I mean? Of a life.
I think that's why it's so meaningful, though, because you're not just killing a chicken. Sorry, chickens, if you're listening. I apologize. But you're taking away a really big thing, and so the sacrifice means so much more because it's a person.
I get that that's what they think, but I have a hard time with it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Especially when it's somebody like Leif, who's so great.
Well, also, the more important the person or the more worthy of living, it seems like, also increases their value as a sacrifice, I would think. I mean, if you kill a horrible person, you don't really want them around anyhow.
That's
so
true.
It's not as...
It's like giving up chocolate for Lent. Like, I mean, that's a personal thing. That you're not really doing that for God. You're just trying to do something for yourself.
But I mean, that's the nature of sacrifice. If it hurts, it's a real sacrifice. If it doesn't count.
Yeah, I mean, I guess when you told me what the title was last time, I was optimistic that it wasn't going to be as bad.
Ah.
Maybe. I don't know.
But it was much worse than...
Just, kill animals and people I don't know. But yeah.
Oh, and right after Athelstan sees the pen for the people that aren't there yet, they focus in on Ragnar, and he has this super guilty look on his face, which seemed at that point like, Athelstan should really figure out what's going to happen to him. But they don't show Athelstan, so I think that maybe he didn't see it. Or he did, and he's just so ignorant. I feel like there were so many points he should have figured out he was the sacrifice in this episode that he didn't.
Yeah, and I didn't realize either, but when they were walking up the steps to the temple, Lagertha says to Ragnar, does he know? And Ragnar says no. And I didn't know that that's what they were talking about until 5 minutes later.
Did you think maybe they were talking about the king, or...
I had no idea what she was talking about. I didn't know what she was talking about.
Well, there's so many hints in this episode about what's going to happen.
There really were, yeah.
Everyone that has never really talked to him is talking to him. They're all being nice to him. They're giving him alcohol and drugs. He's basically the rock star there.
Mm-hmm.
Tiri bathes him, kisses him, and then says she has to.
Right.
Which, I guess, you get to have sex before you die.
So, and she's also saying it sort of like this is going to be a spoiler too, if you haven't seen The Sixth Sense, I mean, it's been ages, so you should probably just go watch it. But, so the little boy says, that dead people talk to him, but they don't know they're dead. And I feel like Theory was like, because I have to. I mean, I feel like she was trying to tell him without telling him.
Well, Athelstan in previous episode, during the duel, the slave girl who was going to sacrifice herself went and had sex with everyone.
Yeah.
You got some hints here, man. Pick it up.
I think he just thought the same thing I did, that he and Ragnar are friends.
Yeah.
It never even occurred to him.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Athelstan. He gets super high. I will say, my production note for his experience when he was high, I usually do not think that movies and TV shows do a very good job of portraying that someone is
tripping
in an altered state. Yes.
Yeah.
Usually I don't like that when the camera is obviously connected to them, so they're moving and they're still, but everything else is moving around them, which they did a little bit in this, but I think what they did really well was having everything kind of fuzzy in and out of focus. The speed kept changing, go slow-mo, go normal speed.
Yes. And
the music during that scene was amazing. That was the Wardruna band I mentioned. Mm-hmm. The song in that particular scene was called Heim to Thurs. Mm. They're Scandinavian also. Mm-hmm. But it had these really great drums and low kind of sounds to it. Mm-hmm. That whole scene, I enjoyed that scene.
I did not enjoy that scene. I felt like it probably was better than a lot of other productions, like you've said, in that sort of feeling, but it made me really uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Yeah. I felt like I was tripping also.
Also, there was a lot of sex going on. I imagine that whole scene was what Burning Man feels like at night.
Okay.
Never been to Burning Man, but
I have not. Yep.
A lot of unshowered people tripping and
gross,
having sex.
Gross.
I guess I should be fair. I'm sure Burning Man is not just an orgy, but
I can't say either way. I don't know.
Listeners that have been to Burning Man, tell us if it is just a really big orgy.
Yeah.
Or not. 'Cause yeah. Okay. Are we assuming that Athelstan lost his virginity to Tiri?
I thought when she was washing him that's where it was going, but I did not get a clear answer.
Okay.
If that's what happened.
We didn't see Though
Right.
they appeared to both be naked.
Maybe. I don't know. I don't know. I mean, I don't know.
And they kissed before that. So
It definitely seemed like it was going that way.
yada, yada, yada. He went back.
Yeah. But, I mean...
Are you hoping he did or not?
So here's the thing. I'm okay with it, except based on how far into this episode, towards the end, he still is faithful to his Christian faith. So is it because he was high that his inhibitions were lowered and he went ahead with it?
I don't know if I'd say he's still faithful to it. I think that he definitely has a lot of the vestiges of it left in his soul, I'd say. Just the ingrained
So do you think
feeling
he's
about
Christian, but he's not a monk anymore?
Yeah, I think so.
In his mind.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I don't think he's given up the belief in Jesus.
Okay. But he's just given up the belief in chastity.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. I could see that.
I don't think he's ready to go out and have a relationship with a woman, but...
But he found her irresistible while he was hopped up on mushrooms and...
Yeah, I think Tyrion needs to learn a little bit about consent here.
Yeah.
Because he was not in his right mind.
Yes, I totally agree with that.
I think she would be in trouble in court.
I think she thought it was okay because she thought he was going to die. I guess. Maybe she thought she was doing him a favor.
I think she definitely thought she was doing him a favor.
Yeah.
Isn't that what all the rapists say?
I don't know. Do they?
I think he wanted it. I'm sure he wanted it.
I mean, he was asking for it. Look how he was dressed.
He was naked. He let me bathe him. That means he wanted to have sex with me, right? Come on.
It was secret Viking code.
So he does claim to not be a Christian anymore, to Horik and to the priests. Mm-hmm. I'm not sure that he... Here's the thing. I don't think that he realizes himself, necessarily, that he still believes until he basically has to deny God 3 times. He's Judas.
Yep.
And then he gets the tears in his eyes by the 3rd time, and I think that's when it hits him, that he still does believe, and he can't really pretend that he doesn't anymore.
Yeah, the last no that he said, to me, sounded like, no, don't make me say it again. More than, no, that's not what I believe. He was like, no, like, please stop. That's what it sounded like.
And the symbolism in the denying 3 times, too.
Yeah.
I do wonder if there's anything related to the Norse religion with that, because obviously, the deny God 3 times is the Judas thing, but the priest made him do it 3 times. He said, and a 3rd time. Mm-hmm. So I wonder if the priest knows anything about Christianity and used that, or if there is something parallel in Norse religion.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe he just didn't believe him the first 2 times. I don't know how he knew. How did he know? Because Athelstan seemed like he was playing the part to me. So what was the tip-off? When
he was splattering him with the blood in the beginning, he paused for a second then too.
Yeah, why? Did he just not trust him because he knew he wasn't that before?
This is a question I had for you on a bigger scale. What is your opinion on the authenticity of the religion in this show? Is it just that we're supposed to believe they believe in the gods and the gods have a direct effect on their lives? Or do you think that the premise of this show means that the gods really do have an effect and that the seer really does prophecy and the priests really do have a feeling about people and their beliefs? So do you think the mysticism is real in this show?
Yeah, that's tough.
I mean, because I think that probably affects the way that you see the things that happen and what you think will happen based on a sacrifice.
Yeah, I think it's their faith and it is their perception that the sacrifices they make will make a difference and all of the other beliefs that they have. But I sort of see it as the way I see Christianity in current times, is that you pray to God, you ask for blessings and forgiveness and all that kind of stuff, but you get what you get.
So placebo effect, basically?
Yeah, I don't see these gods, I don't see Odin and Thor having an actual hand in the path of their lives.
So the ravens that show up are just ravens.
Yes.
The Raven Gandalf that was walking through the field was just a man that was there.
Or, an imagination, sort of a, I don't think killing 9 goats and 9 chickens and 9 people are going to make you have a good year. I think that they think so. I think Floki really thinks so.
Yeah.
He's very faithful. And obviously I don't know if the creators of the show want me to believe that, or if they want me to believe that in the same thing that the Vikings do. I don't know. But that's where I'm at. That's how I'm looking at it.
I think it's a good clarification to make, even if you haven't decided.
What about
you
you?
Think.
Which one do you think?
I can't tell you that because I've seen them all, and so...
So you already know if it comes to pass or not.
Well, here's the thing, though. This show is very sly in that way. They give you things that seem like they could be, but you can probably explain most things away, but maybe not. I'm not going to give you any spoilers that say Odin shows up and says, "Hey, Ragnar, how you doing?"
Oh, that'd be cool.
Wouldn't it be? Yeah.
Yeah.
Or that Ragnarok comes and the whole world floods.
You know who would be awesome to show up? If Thor showed up. And by Thor, I mean Thor from the Avengers. Because if he showed
Chris
up,
Hemsworth.
I would be down for that.
He could certainly pass as a Viking. I would not be upset if Chris Hemsworth showed up in this show.
If Chris Hemsworth was on Vikings, I would be so happy. That would make my day.
Oh my god.
Yeah. So, Odin, you stay away. Thor, you come on down.
And then, out of the corner of the screen, you just see Tom Hiddleston peek in with a grin.
Yes!
And his Loki wig.
Even better.
Oh my god. That would make I would love to see Vikings as The Office. With everybody.
Yeah.
Oh, that'd be nice. Doing their little, the fourth wall break with the interviews.
Looking at the camera. Yeah.
Can you imagine?
That would be really funny.
I think I would enjoy Floki's little interviews the most.
Oh my gosh. That guy, I'm still, even after this many episodes, I still go back and forth with him.
Yeah. I think he'd be Jim.
Cuckoo.
He would be Jim playing pranks on... My god, who would be Dwight?
Oh gosh. I want it to be Rollo just because I want people to mess with him. Because I'm mad at him all the time.
He doesn't have much of a sense of humor, really.
No, he doesn't.
He's one of those people that will mock other people, but as soon as you mock him, he is mad. He's not turnabout is fair play kind of person.
Okay, so like, how about Sven is Dwight? Even though he's dead.
He would have been perfect.
Yeah.
Oh my god, Ragnar as Michael would be ridiculous. So Athelstan is shocked when he finds out he's supposed to be the sacrifice.
Yep.
And not just a sacrifice, but a willing sacrifice.
Yep.
Pretty sure if he had gone to that temple knowing that, he would not have ever have denied God.
Nope.
And then also, incredibly surprised to learn someone has to take his place.
Yeah.
Usually he seems so smart, but in this episode, he is just not picking up anything. Before, he was reading Ragnar like a book, but now, nothing.
I think he was lulled into...
Complacency.
A sense... Yeah, a sense of being part of the family, maybe?
Forgot that he was still technically a slave.
Forgot that he technically is not a Viking.
Yeah.
You know? He's not one of them.
And when the seer says that he can't, because he doesn't believe, he can't be the sacrifice, Ragnar, good God, what the, your gods finally came through for you, haha, kind of joke.
Oh my god, Ragnar!
I'm glad Athelstan did not go with it, though. He just gave him this look like, are you fucking serious, man?
I really wanted him to just, like, punch him in the face. I don't think it would have gone over very well because Ragnar would have absolutely killed him. But, still.
What do you think is going to happen to their relationship after this? I mean, it must be fundamentally changed.
I feel like it's going to be strained.
That's a nice thing to say.
I think there's going to be some discomfort. I thought that he was part of the family. I thought Lagertha liked him. I thought the kids liked him. He lives with them. This just totally caught me off guard.
It puts him in his place, a place that he did not think he occupied anymore.
That is definitely true. And it's a place I didn't want him to be anymore.
Yeah.
I was really sad.
What do you think is going to happen to him as far as his own feelings on his faith? I mean, that's been such an integral part of his character.
Yeah, I feel like it might actually make his faith stronger or re-certify itself.
It saved him.
Yeah, exactly. So that might be part of it. I think he's going to really want to not live with them anymore. I don't know how he couldn't. Of course, Ragnar at the very beginning said, go if you're going to go. And he didn't, but...
It's true.
So, I don't know. I mean, is he going to say, Ragnar, I think we need to have a talk. I'd like to move out now since you wanted to have me sacrificed.
Maybe they need to have the DTR, not just Siggy and Rollo.
Yes. Yeah, I think...
Poor guys. Has this episode fundamentally changed your feelings about Ragnar?
Totally. It really has. Because, he has in the past been a little flippant and a little smirky and, that kind of thing. But ultimately, I thought he was a good person. But this episode just shows me that his ambition is more important to him than, some of these other relationships that I thought were important.
His arrogance seems to be winning out.
On the other hand, it does make me think that he's going to be okay with the whole Rollo face-off.
Oh.
Because if he's willing to sacrifice Athelstan, to have a good year or 9 years or whatever, and his ambition is behind that, then when Rollo starts to step up, Ragnar's ambition is going to shut him down. So,
Next week, we're going to talk about Season 1, Episode 9, called All Change.
All Change?
All Change. Seems to make sense after all the things that happened in this episode.
Yes.
Seems like a lot of relationships are changing.
Yeah.
What do you think is going to happen based on that name? It's, next week is the season finale for us of Season 1.
Yeah, I'm worried about Lagertha and Ragnar's relationship.
Okay. What do you think is going to happen between the two of them?
I mean, it seems like Ragnar's going to put her to the side in pursuit of this prophecy that he thinks needs to come true.
I wonder if his actions would be different if he didn't have that prophecy. If he would just be happy with Bjorn.
I wonder. I don't like the sight of him at all.
So before we get to your top 3, I know you had a clarification about this one.
I have a clarification about something we discussed in the previous episode. Mm-hmm. When we first saw this, nobody's even going to care about this, but I felt like it was important to say. When we first meet King Ayla, you and I had a discussion about how he looked.
Yes.
And who he looked like.
Yes.
And how he has this crazy curly black hair, and you said he looks sort of like John Rhys Davies from Indiana Jones, which I agree with. And I said he looks like one of the singers from the Kings of Leon. Mm-hmm. When they sang.
Oh my God, is he a singer from the Kings of Leon?
Okay, he's not. I looked up a picture of the Kings of Leon. He does not look like any of them. So I was like, why would I think that? And then I realized that a few years ago, my family and I used to watch The Voice. And there was a contestant named Nakia who sang Sex on Fire, who looks just like this guy. So that's why.
Oh my God.
So if anybody,
pop culture reference gone wrong.
Yeah. So if anybody was listening to that episode and thought, that guy doesn't look anything like any of the people from Kings of Leon, you are correct. He does not. He just looks like a contestant from The Voice who sang a Kings of Leon song. So I am sorry for everyone involved in that entire reference, because it was all wrong.
Now I'm imagining the king of Northumbria just breaking into song into this.
Just competing on The Voice. Yeah, and just Adam Levine being like, I want you on my team.
God.
Yeah. So I felt like it was important to point that out.
I'm glad you did, because that is ridiculous.
Yeah, I know. It is. It's so bad.
So what's your category for top 3?
Okay. My top 3 this episode is times that Ragnar disappointed me. Aww. And I feel like that's saying it pretty mildly. I was pretty mad at him. I don't know. It kind of reminds me of like, I'm not mad, just disappointed. No, I'm mad and disappointed. The first time that I was really sad was when Lagertha was taking the offerings, and she stopped and went over to talk to Ragnar because he looked like he was sort of out of sorts. And he was rude to her, and he was sarcastic, and he was just a snot. And I was mad at him for being that way because Lagertha is grieving also. He lost a son, and so did she. Not only did she lose a son, she was far along. She had to give birth to her dead son.
And she didn't have anyone around except for Siggy, who she didn't really know very well.
And she got no sympathy from him. It was just all about why he was upset about it. So I was really disappointed in his reaction to that, because we've seen him a lot more loving in the past.
That's true.
And then the second time, when he's in the temple and he's praying to Odin, he implies pretty heavily that he's willing to sleep with another woman to get the sons that he was promised, which made me really mad too, because, like I just said, he's been shown as a lot more loving to Lagertha in the past, and he's just dismissing her for something that she has no control over. And I just feel like him not keeping that loyalty to her really turns me off of him as a character. And then, number 3, no shock here, he was gonna sacrifice Athelstan!
I know, that was
Why
terrible.
would you get rid of that guy? I love that guy. Why, Ragnar? I was so sad. He just made me sad the whole episode.
Now, consider this. This does not make it better, but if we do think about the idea that the more important someone or something is, the better sacrifice it makes, while this still makes him incredibly selfish, do you think that he really does have strong feelings of friendship with Athelstan, and because of that, he was willing to sacrifice him, because it would have been such a blow to him that it would have been a major worthy sacrifice?
Counterpoint. Lagertha just lost his second son. Why didn't he sacrifice her?
Because then she definitely couldn't have another son for him.
Well, he's already said he's pretty much not even going to try with her anymore.
I don't know if he said that.
Okay, but he said he's going to go sleep with somebody else. I find that's going to happen. He's going to try to knock up somebody else.
Okay.
So, if it's been, 12 years since she had Gita, maybe? And she just finally got pregnant and then lost the baby, I don't think he's holding out much hope.
I think not holding out hope and actively getting rid of all hope in that area are different.
But if the whole point of the sacrifice is to get what you want, so you should sacrifice the most important person, wouldn't that be her?
Is she still the most important person to him?
Over Athelstan? Yeah.
He seems to be taking out a lot of anger on her.
That's true.
I don't think there's any time in this episode where he is demonstrative toward her at all. Like he has been basically in every single episode where we've seen them together before. I don't know if his feelings have fundamentally changed after this, or if it's just a phase.
Or if he's just still upset. Yeah, that could be. I don't know then, because I think that you're right in saying that he wouldn't have picked Athelstan if he wasn't important to him, because the sacrifice is supposed to be somebody important. So there's that. However, I don't want Athelstan to die.
Yeah.
So I'm still right there in that camp.
I know, we need George Blagden around for a long time.
I really like him. I wish his hair would change again, but I really like him. Yeah.
In spite of his hair.
He
does not deserve to die.
And the thing is, too, I'm totally okay with everybody's accents. I like to listen to everybody talk in different ways. But when he starts to talk, it's so soothing.
He's the only one who doesn't have to put on an accent.
He just has this lovely voice that just, it's like calming.
It's very warm.
Yeah, and his voice is never raised. He's never mad. Mostly. I mean, you know what I mean? I mean, he's just like super chill. I like to listen to him talk. It calms. Yeah. So I don't want him to stop talking because somebody cut him open.
Yeah, I feel like of all the people on this show as characters, his character would be the person I would get along with the most.
Yeah, I could see that.
Yeah. I
mean, I'm like still pro Lagertha forever.
Oh, yeah.
But I also like Athelstan a lot.
I like her a lot, but I don't think she and I would have much in common. I'm no shield maiden.
Well, if you were a Viking, maybe you would be a shield maiden, Nikki. Don't sell yourself short.
If she were Regina George, I would be Lindsay Lohan. She's way cooler than me.
Yeah, her name was Katie.
Katie, that's her.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would not make it into that clique for very long.
You said a character name and then an actress name, and I just had to call you out on it.
I know, because I couldn't remember the name.
Yeah, her name was Katie. Not that I watch that regularly. I totally watch that regularly. It's an amazing movie.
I don't think Lagertha cares if butter's a carb or not. Not really, Any predictions for what's going to happen in the last episode of season 1?
I'm guessing, like I said last time, that it's probably going to be fairly epic because it's the last episode of the season, so we might have some cliffhangers, or there might be something that's sort of like a really big change, which now that you've told me what the name of the episode is, that makes a lot of sense.
What do you think the change might be?
Well, see, so here's the thing. This is the issue I've had all season with this show, is time. The time passes in all sorts of different ways. So the next episode could be the next day, a week, a month, 6 months, a year. I mean, I have no idea how much time is going to pass, so I don't know what's going to happen. I mean, we might open up the next episode, first scene, Ragnar walking around with a woman who's 9 months pregnant with his son who's not Lagertha. I have no idea.
Goodness. That's a big jump.
I'm just saying, all changes, right? That's what you said. Yeah. So, you know, maybe Rollo married Siggy. Maybe Rollo knocked up Siggy. Maybe Rollo knocked up Theory.
Ooh, Theory, actually, it turns out is her name.
I like Theory better.
It's spelled T-H.
Because it sounds like
it's
a theory.
spelled that way. Yeah.
You know, if we jump forward in time quite a bit, the kids could be quite a bit older. Maybe Björn is going on a raid. I just, it's so hard to guess because I just don't know how much time is going to pass. So, I don't know, but I'll tell you this. I would not want to be the other woman if Lagertha was the woman.
Oh, that'd be tough.
That would be very uncomfortable. So I'm just going to put that out there.
How do you think that would work? Would Ragnar leave or try to have a second wife or get divorced or...
No, I think he would
kill Lagertha or...
No, I think he would just go sleep with her as needed.
As needed.
I'm just saying. I just, you know...
Apply this ointment as needed.
Exactly. Apply this... No, I'm not going to say.
Okay, I'm not the perv in this episode. I'd like everyone to note.
I'm just saying, you know, till he gets the job done.
Oh my god. He's doubling down then. Is that what you're doing?
I'm just saying, like, I'm trying to go into where his head is going, and I think that's where it is. So there you go.
Now it's time for Cheek of the Week, where we talk about something we like, we want to tell each other about, and tell you about. My cheek this week is awesome. It is a human skeleton shower curtain that I have that I love. Right now, it's up in my bathroom. It has the front and the back of the human skeleton, and all the bones are labeled. So while you're showering, you can learn.
And I'm assuming this is a drawing and not a photo?
That is correct, because that'd be disgusting.
That's kind of what I was thinking.
But I usually have some sort of educational shower curtain up in my bathroom.
Mm-hmm. Like the periodic table. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's what I had before this one.
I remember.
I know a few more than I did before, which is great. I don't know all of them, but I usually keep them up for like a year. And then before that I had the world map.
Awesome.
With all the countries labeled. There are all kinds you can get. You can get a ton of different ones. I think my next one might be a dinosaur shower curtain, which sounds really exciting.
For your octopus bathroom, you should get like a deep sea animal theme. That'd be fun. I
think that'd be nice. I have a new bathroom in my basement, and it's cephalopod themed. And
fancy schmancy.
Awesome. It's so rad.
Cephalopod.
Well, you have to get squids and octopuses and cuttlefish, so...
Aren't they octopi?
It's weird. So I looked it up once because I was wondering if it was octopi. Apparently, this is a weird thing to know, I feel like. Apparently, octopus is one of the weird words that doesn't have the Latin base, so it wouldn't be octopi, though that is accepted. It's octopodes or octopuses. Either of those works.
Octopodes? I like that.
It's so strange.
Octopodes. But you know, if you said that like in a conversation with other people, they'd be like, what are you talking about?
Pretty sure they would.
Even if that's correct. Octopodes. I love it.
Yeah. What's your cheek? Is it octopodes?
So,
do you have octopodes?
Unfortunately, no. It has nothing to do with deep sea animals.
That is really sad.
I know. It just has to do with my life in general. I have created a sort of work uniform for myself, and I definitely suggest this to other people too. I wear pretty much the same thing every day, and it's like one less decision to make. What I wear is a polo, jeans, and a pair of Converse. And my Converse always are the same color as my polo. So I have navy blue and black and gray and green and
That's a lot of
maroon
Converse.
And purple. Yes. Okay. So I wear Converse pretty much every day. I love them. And I found these super cool shoelaces that I don't even know why they call them shoelaces. They're not shoelaces. They're like a rubber, I don't even know what the word is for what I'm trying to say. But each side of it hooks into a hole on your shoe. And so it makes the shoes slip on.
Oh,
there's no tying. They just stretch. They're called Homar no tie shoelaces. I got them on Amazon. They're $8 for enough for a pair of shoes.
Nice.
Which is super reasonable. And I put them on a couple of my pairs of Converse, and then I actually got a pair for my running shoes. And it's just, I never have to worry about if I'm going to trip over my laces, because for whatever reason, you know how you just have weird things you're paranoid about? I'm always worried that when I'm on the treadmill, I'm going to trip over my shoelaces. They're going to come untied, and I'm not going to realize it, and I'm going to fall in front of everybody, and I'll never be able to go back to the gym again.
That's a lot of steps.
Yes, it is. Which, I don't really like going to the gym, so that might not be the worst thing ever. Maybe. Anyway, so you can get them in black and white and gray and light blue and dark blue, and they have kid sizes, and they have multicolor, and they have green and orange, and they're just, it took me like 2 minutes to put them in my shoes. Really, they come with this weird little tool, but I actually lost it the first time I got them, so I just did it without it. It's really easy to do, and then you just slip your shoes on and off. I mean, it's
nice.
And not only that, but my Converse look so much tidier.
Oh.
Because there's no lace. I mean, there's no bow. I love them so much.
Now
That's my
some.
cheek of the week. Yeah, you should get some. I need to get even more, because I want to have enough for all my shoes now.
Yeah.
I've even seen pictures that people have posted, like in the reviews and stuff. They put them on dress shoes, like men's, like black shoes, and they just put black laces in, and they're just really tidy. So yeah, I definitely recommend those. I'm definitely going to put a link to those, because for $8, right?
Yeah.
So listeners, you can find that and all the rest of our Cheeks of the Week, and you can send us your questions on our website, somethingcheekypodcast.com. And also, we've got a Facebook page, and people have been liking it and following us, and we're so appreciative. And if you haven't done that yet, you should definitely do it.
That's our episode. Please leave us a review on iTunes or wherever you get your podcasts. You can follow us on Twitter at SomeCheek, and also on Facebook.com/SomeCheek.
And you can also check out our other podcast where we talk about the book The Lies of Loch Lamora by Scott Lynch.
Thanks for listening. We'll see you next week.
Dig-a-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da.